Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I rise today here with amendment number 2, and I would ask and invite you to consider this amendment. And I want to start by telling you where it comes from. First and foremost, I had the great privilege of being on a study committee where we went around rural Georgia and we talked about a rural healthcare shortage. And over the course of time, that study committee put together a committee report. And one of the things we said that we needed to do was to consider the people who live in our state today who are already trained as physicians, who are trained internationally, and to create a pathway for them to become licensed. And so this is what this amendment does. It creates a pathway because we have hundreds of doctors who live in Georgia today, right now, who are trained and worked as physicians in their home countries, who've now made Georgia home, and right now are not able to practice. I'm also bringing this bill to you today because I have family who live in rural Georgia. A father-in-law with a chronic illness who fought in Vietnam, who worked and served this country, and who has to travel miles and miles because there's no doctor nearby. And I know that this is true for many of the people in this room. There are 143 counties in our great state in which there is a clear and true shortage of physicians. Every one of us sitting in this room has an obligation to our constituents to do everything that we can possible to deliver health care to them. And when you have doctors who are already trained here in the States, but we don't create a pathway for them to be able to work, well, I think that we're failing our people. The reality is, I have worked incredibly hard and in good faith with physicians and with a whole lot of people to create a pathway so that people who are trained, people who served in the military and worked as physicians there, people who worked hard as physicians who bring great expertise, can be able to bring that practice here to Georgia. But I want to be clear, what I'm trying to do here is not new. This isn't something that I just made up or came out of the air. Let me tell you the states that have already done this. Arizona, Arkansas, Colorado, Virginia, Florida, Utah, Illinois, Idaho, Iowa, Tennessee, Washington, and Wisconsin have all said, you know what, we have a shortage. We have a physician shortage, particularly in our rural areas. And we need to create a pathway for people who are internationally trained to be able to practice in our states. They are doing that, and they are doing that today to try to begin to address the shortage. Friends, I want to be clear. People in rural Georgia today are not well because they don't have access to a physician. People in rural Georgia today are burning up gas, spending extra time and energy having to tote their loved ones to other counties because they simply don't have access to a physician. This bill helps to begin to fill that gap. Now, some will say, well, are you sure that they're going to be able to care for us well? Well, in this amendment, we've made sure. We require that they take all of the examinations that anyone who was trained in the U.S. would take. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3. We require that they would have to be supervised by a physician in the facility where they were hired. We have put lots of guardrails in this bill, and I will tell you, somebody's probably already got a text message from the composite board. And the composite board will say, well, we don't agree with this bill. But I want you to just take a moment and look at line 48. In line 48, we tell the board that any other criteria that the board may require, they are able to come up with. Line 65, once again, we say to the board, any other criteria that you decide is necessary to ensure the safety of these physicians, you can come up with. And we say it again in line 73. Any license can be granted or denied at the discretion of the board. We have given the composite board a significant amount of leeway to make sure that they implement rules and promulgate all the things that are necessary to protect all Georgians when it comes to having access to a physician who is trained internationally. But fundamentally, this is about bringing more doctors online. It is about making sure that wherever you are, whether it is because you have family in rural Georgia or you yourself live in rural Georgia or you happen to go on vacation and find yourself in need of a doctor in rural Georgia, this is about making sure that those doctors are available. And so I hear and I know that there are some concerns because the Medical Composite Board isn't online. Well, sometimes we have to tell the Medical Composite Board to figure out the rules, but we've given you some framework, and we've given the Medical Composite Board the space to fill in any rules that they might feel are necessary. But at the end of the day, this amendment, this vehicle, will make sure that we have more doctors who are trained, who have been working as physicians in other countries. We are making sure that they can come and serve here, just like 13 other states around us have already done. And with that, I will yield for questions.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you.
Recognize